What's up, guys? Welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. Yes, and this is part 2 of the number 6 of the Q&A series, part number 2. I know it's a little bit overdue, but you know, right now is better than never. Anyway, first question by CJ England. How do I work the lower portion of my lats? I've got high lats and the lower part of the lats are barely visible. Well, first of all, it's genetics. When you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, his lats basically came all the way down. My own lats are a little higher than his, and you've got Dennis Wolf, whose lats are very high. But if you want to work the full length of the lats, without thinking about not being able to change the shape of the muscle, you got to get that out of your head, because if you already put that limitation upon yourself from the start, it'll never happen. You know, you won't make the improvements you can make if you have an open mind. So, for example, what I like to do is, you bent over row and the T-bar rows. Don't stand upright, but stand parallel to the floor. For the T-bar row, I'm using this example right now. Stand parallel to the floor and put your feet close together. Use small plates so that your range of motion is as long as possible, as the range is as big as possible. So when you go down, you can stretch your lats all the way, and the more you stretch your lats, the more it'll pull on the bottom of your lats here. You want the stress of the muscle strain to go from here to here all the way, and you can only achieve that with full range of motion. Now for the bent over row, you do the same. You do parallel to the floor, but this time you stand on a plateau so that you go even deeper. The plates on the side, they would hit the ground if you wouldn't stand on a plateau. So stand on a plateau about 10 to 15 inches high. Doesn't really matter as long as the plates don't hit the floor when you extend all the way down. This stretch is important. Alright, next question by Aaron Incognito. Hi Wesley, I was wondering what your opinion on Lee Priest's physique was, and as in how it flowed, as you put it, and stay awesome. Oh, I will. Lee Priest's physique was amazing. I'm showing you here right now. He had one of those classical physiques that I think he should have placed a lot higher on all the Mr. Olympias he joined. He always was consistent. Now a lot of people say that right now he took a little too far with the tattoos, but I don't really care. I really cared about what he achieved as a bodybuilder. And he is down to earth. He's honest about everything he does, controversial or not. Especially back in those days when everybody was shy and afraid of the IFBB politics. And that's part of the reason why he didn't place as high. But anyway, besides that, his physique is amazing. He's one of the best arms in the world, forearms. Even his legs are great in my opinion. I love watching his training footage on YouTube. It's amazing. And it's just, back in the 90s, those training videos of his and other bodybuilders, to me, are incredibly motivating. So yes, his physique flowed well. The only downfall of his physique, not to me personally, but to the general audience, I guess, is that he was short. So you had a lot of guys standing right there, and he was in the middle somewhere, but he didn't really, was as impressive next to the others because they were simply a lot taller than him. So that's the problem on a stage. But by himself, he was one of the best physiques of the 90s for sure. Next question by Lamb Farm. Hey, I've really liked your content so far, man. Love it. Thank you. My main goal is to get that golden era physique. I started doing double flies and double pullovers recently. That's amazing. That's good. Should I focus on the weight on those two? I'm noticing results, but on the pullovers, I focused on going higher with the weights. Should I focus on weight over form and contraction for maximum results? Please help. It depends on the exercise. The number one thing you want to do is your form has to be perfect. because the form of an exercise is designed to target a specific muscle maximally effectively. So when your form is off, that means that you hit different angles of your body and include different muscles. If you go too heavy on the double pullover, as you mentioned, when you train your back on that day and you go way too heavy, you might actually contract the chest automatically because it's too heavy and other muscles start to help your back. Now, double pullover is one of the best examples in this actually, because you can do the exact same movement almost visually, and you can train two different muscle groups. Now, you are always going to contract the back and the chest regardless, but focusing on the back or focusing on the chest makes a world of difference when doing a double pullover. So don't go too heavy, but when you do back, focus on the stretch. So you do want to go a little heavy to be able to stretch at the bottom of the movement right here. And for chest, you want to be able to contract right here. So you might want to go a little lighter, but that's my only advice. And for double pullovers, it's also about the stretch, but the heavier you go, the more triceps you're going to use. You want to stay in a line like this. And the only way to do that is to go light. You know, not heavy. Not too light, medium. That's my advice to you. Next question by Owen Vogt. Hey Wesley, are you at the SAP Cup this year? This is for Dutch viewers. So the SAP Cup used to be the Flex Cup, and I won that competition 2 times in a row in my class and the overall. And yes, I will be there this year. It's a very amazing competition. It's 2 days in a row, and there's a little expo attached to it as well. It grows every single year. It's in Veldhoven in the Netherlands. So yeah, I will be there with my sponsor, Body and Fashion and SciTech Nutrition. So I will post it on Facebook as well. So if you live in the Netherlands and you want to go to the SAP Cup, be sure to join me at Body and Fashion stand. Next question. By Apple Cider Poppy. What are your PR numbers? I'm not sure actually. I never have tried the deadlift PR, so that's out of the window. I used to do 10 times 180 kilos, but that was when I was 20 years old. Wasn't serious. I was only doing it for a month, and my form was off, and I never did it again because the heavier I went, the more pain I had in my lower back. So I have no idea. For my bench press, I did do 170 kilos one time, but I was in a cutting phase, and it was a mistake on my part, but I was swept in the moment. You know, I felt strong. It could have been, it could have turned out badly when you go too heavy, especially when you're in a deficit. But it's nice to know your strength sometimes. But I only advise doing PRs when you're either in off season or you're more of a power lifter, because 1 rep maxes for bodybuilders are not really useful. It's only risky to tear something, especially on the bench press. So yeah, that might be 170 kilos on the bench press, I guess. And the squats, I have done 2 times 200 kilos before, and that was after 5 or 6 sets of full-on squats. So I don't know, somewhere around 200 kilos should be at least my PR. Next question, guys, by Lawrence Tan. I have the problem with shoulder exercise, lateral raise and upright row. Is it right to use upright row with heavy weights and isolate it with lightweight lateral raise with high reps? This is because I realize I can't really perform the lateral raise in great form to focus on the middle delts. Or maybe is it really important to do lateral raise with a certain amount of weight? Well, to make this easy, never go heavy on the side laterals. It's a small muscle, I've mentioned it before, so I'll be short. Use the weight that you can use to isolate this muscle, and don't use the traps. So purely use this muscle. And on the upright row, I assume you mean the wide grip upright row, because that's for the side delts as well. And that's the only way you can really go heavy focusing on the side delts, because you use both arms, you use a bar, you're strong in this position, and you can go pretty heavy on that one. But you should, if you superset it, I would do, for example, 15 reps of side lateral raises and 10 reps of upright rows. So you can go heavier on the upright rows, you know, focus more on overloading the muscle fibers. And the first time with the side lateral raises, you focus on the contraction. Anyway, next question. Let's see, by M. Armand. I have 2 questions. Wow, 2 questions. When should I consume fat, carbs and protein throughout the day? I am sure to eat right now, but I'm not sure if I eat the right time of the day. I've read so many articles that I don't know what is true or false. I am so confused right now. Okay, let's first answer that question. I will include a big portion of this in the ultimate diet video that I will do later on. But let's be short about this one. When do you need carbs? Let's start with the carbs first. After sleeping, your carbs are depleted. Unless you had a big feast right before you went to sleep, you're gonna need carbs in the morning. Your insulin sensitivity is high. So you need carbs in the morning. When else do you need carbs? Pre-workout. At least 2 hours before working out. If you have 1 hour before working out, you might not even be able to use the carbs that you're eating. So yes, pre-workout. And during the workout you use carbs, so have it post-workout as well. So those are 3 moments in the day that you need most of your carbs. When you eat carbs, why do you need fats? There's no need to combine the two necessarily. As long as you get your fats throughout the day. At the end of the day, you should have enough essential, healthy, fatty acids. So if you eat 6 times a day, the first meal will be carb rich, and every meal should have a plenty amount of protein. Now, this is a high number, probably if you eat 6 times a day, 30 to 40 grams of protein every single meal, that's just standard. No need to change that around. But the carbs and the fats have different roles. So in the morning you eat the carbs, you lower the fats. The meal after that, you don't need as much carbs, so you up the fats. The calorie content should be about the same every meal. The meal after that, I assume you're having 4 meals before working out. So the meal after that should have no carbs. No carbs. But you up the fats. So then your body can utilize the fat to burn. Before working out, this is the 4th meal, you have your carbs again, but you lower the fats again, because your body will now use the carbs for working out, and your fats don't really have a place in that meal. Post-workout again, you need the carbs, so lower the fats. And before bed, you don't have carbs, so you up the fats for slower absorption of nutrients throughout the night. That is the very simplified version of the ultimate diet, which I will explain in another video. And the second part of the question was, you said that you didn't take supplements for the first 4 years, but did you take care of your diet, like counting macros and everything, or did you just eat breakfast and 2 big meals? Honestly, the first few years of my bodybuilding career, I didn't even call it bodybuilding, I was just doing it for fun in the gym. I didn't do anything about my food. Well, my dad did tell me about it, that you should have enough protein, but when I went to school I just had 2 sandwiches, sometimes peanut butter, sometimes Nutella. In the morning I would have sandwiches as well, the same kind. After school I might have 2 sandwiches with cheese. And the first few years it was just random food. Anything my mom gave me or what we ate in the evening, dinner, I didn't care. I didn't really think about it. But after a couple of years, I started to learn that protein was important when working out. But I did make gains, as you saw in the transformation video. So that kind of brings down the notion that you need a lot of protein to grow. You don't need a lot of protein, but a higher amount of protein gives you a little edge, but that's for another time. So after a while I discovered that protein is important, so what I did do is after working out I had half a packet of cottage cheese or quark. Strawberry flavor it was, so it really didn't have a lot of protein in there as well, but it was at least more than before. And a few years after that I discovered the existence of whey protein. So it took 4 or 5 years before I even touched the first supplements. You know, I always had multivitamins and stuff, but that was just mandatory. It was just something I grew up with because my parents did it. I used to get those chewable children's multivitamins. I was a late learner compared to you guys. Sometimes you're 14, 15, sending me emails about wanting to change your diet up. And back then I didn't even think about food. So you guys, in that regard, if you keep it up for that many years, just imagine where you will be at the end. I have to admit, my genes are, I guess, pretty good, because in those first few years I made gains regardless of what I ate. And my natural metabolism was pretty high because I was lean always, basically, always. I never overate. I never had the natural inclination to eat more than I needed, probably less than I actually needed. So I might have made more gains, and I noticed the gains coming when I did my first competition when I was 20 years old. First competition, then I started to eat for real. That's when I actually started to eat like a bodybuilder, and from then on the rebound from being in such a low body fat percentage in 2013, and in 2014 I grew a lot, as you guys have saw in the transformation video. And guys, it was a rebound from the competition using food. For your information, food is the most anabolic thing you can put in your body. And that is not a lie. Anabolic means to grow, to build. Catabolic means to dissipate, to break down. Food, what does that do? It builds up. It's the most anabolic thing you can do. And if you manipulate it right, especially after a competition, you will make gains. Next question. Alright, next question. And I'm actually going to try to do some speed questions this time. Alright. Mark Quinn Alexander asks, when is best to do cardio, before or after lifting? Do it after lifting because you want to conserve the carbohydrates and the energy in your muscles to work out, and then burn the fat. Because your muscle glycogen is depleted, all that's left is fat after working out, so then you do your cardio. Next question by Arlon Addo. What's up, Wes? I've been told I have a high metabolism. I can eat and not gain weight. Now that I've been into bodybuilding for a while, I've noticed I've had to eat quite a lot more than my calculated caloric intake to put on any lean muscle weight at all. How does this affect my training, diet, cardio? Your cardio should remain low before, until basically you gain the weight. And I wish I had your problem, because I love food. I would love to eat 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day and remain lean, except that's for me a fairy tale. But I can understand how it's hard if you're not hungry all the time. But just eat more. It's not that hard, because there's a lot of ways to gain weight. Adding peanut butter to your shakes, eating nuts in between meals, eating a lot of avocados, almonds, walnuts, peanuts in between meals, through your rice, adding 20 grams of coconut oil to every meal, stuff like that, man. There's a lot of things you can do to actually up the caloric benefits, caloric intake of your food, and make it healthy as well. So every protein meal, you can do lean meats, but you can also do smoked salmon. You can also do high quality beef, stuff like that. Next question, James Backhurst. Avocados, what are your thoughts? Good fats or bad fats? Can they play a part in a good diet for building muscle? Yes, they're amazing. All natural fats and basically almost all plant-based foods are good for you. They lower LDL cholesterol, they up HDL cholesterol, they lower your blood pressure, they're good for heart health, healthy fats in general, a lot of vitamins and minerals that play, all combined together with the fruit or vegetable itself to help your body fix itself, clean itself, and build muscle. Next question by Arlanda Goinkhozer. Do you ever think about going into movies, moving to the US? I mean, you get the physique, the charisma, and the golden voice. Thoughts on this? Honestly, I've already done auditions for a series in the Netherlands, but it was not really my thing at the end because the subject wasn't really my thing. And I know that if you want to start out doing movies and being an actor, you gotta basically take anything you can at the start, but that's just not how I roll. I do want to do it in the future. I'm really looking into voice acting for a couple of roles, simple stuff, maybe on YouTube first, video series. And guys know that I like Dragon Ball Z, and I would love to do some voice acting for that somehow, maybe in a fan series. But yeah, into movies, that'll be for the future and when it happens to cross my path. But voice acting, that is something that I do want to do. Next question by Chuck Little. How long do your gym sessions usually go for? Everything warm-ups, workout, and warm down. How often do you deload or take a break from the gym? I only recommend doing deload workouts when you really feel fatigued, but even better would be to just stay home, have a nice filled day with nutrient dense foods and then a good night's sleep, and the next day you will be ready to hit it again at the gym. Sometimes it's just the work you do is too much for your sleep and rest to catch up on. Especially nutrition is sometimes lacking in a lot of people. They think I get in enough protein, enough calories, but the micronutrients also play an important role here. So don't forget those. And my gym sessions usually go for 1.5 hours on average. Next question by Vlad Vinogradov. You mentioned that 20 minutes of cardio after training, but I do before and I feel good. So should I do after or before? I kind of already answered this. You feel good, it depends on your goals. Of course, it's always good to do cardio and weight training on the same day, but ideally do your cardio after working out, because the reason you're weight training is to maximize muscle growth and strength, and you need all the energy you can get for that to maximize that workout. And then the cardio, you can either do it for conditioning, building up your stamina, or losing fat, or both. And doing it after working out is good for both as well. So I would still do it after working out, but some guys like to go cycle to the gym on their bikes. If that's the cardio you want to do, that's fine. It's not that big of a deal, but ideally what I just said is the best option. Next question by Daniel van der Maat. Is it really that important to get the exact macros, or is it just a guideline? Because it's really hard to combine the food sources to get exactly the macros for you. The calories, the macros, the protein, even the micronutrients, they're all guidelines based off of the average need of everybody. It's always a guideline, and the only way to find out whether that guideline fits you or not is to weigh yourself, measure yourself, see how you perform in the gym. You gotta be consistent with what you're doing and then see what it does for you. You gotta experiment, guys. If you don't gain a lot of muscle, but you know that you're getting in enough calories and you know your training is up to par, up the protein. If that doesn't change anything, up the carbs. If that doesn't change anything, up the fats. There's always something you can do to improve whatever situation you want. So it's always a guideline. I always tell people this. Even the calculations, for example, the Harris and Benedict calculation, it is also based off of a large group of people who they tested and see how much energy they burned. And then they came up with an average and now use it for the entire world. Obviously, it can never represent the entire world, but it's always a guideline to start with. So when you're bulking, make sure that you gain around 0.5 pound to a maximum a pound a week. If you don't, and even the calculation are right, but that doesn't happen, the guideline doesn't fit you to a T. So you either gotta increase or decrease your calories and stuff. So it's a guideline, and it comes pretty close, but sometimes you have to change it. Next question. Let's see. by Joe Touchettes. My wife is a massage therapist. Can you discuss massage and weightlifting? Is it good or bad? Want to get it? What types? To be honest, I never really get massages. I wish I did, but I don't. Not yet. I did notice, well, I have gotten a massage from a professional basically who knew what he was doing for my legs, for better leg separation, and it is supposed to hurt. But for me it was to increase leg separation, to increase blood flow to every single muscle fiber in those legs, because I had really tight legs. So you need someone who knows what they're doing. And when you are sore, or when there's knots in your muscles, or when their blood flow isn't as good, massages can definitely help to increase blood flow and increase hypertrophy in the end. So yes, I do think they're good, but I haven't had them enough to really give you advice on it that way. Let's see, next question. Let's see. By Sam Harper. Firstly, thanks for your channel, always packed with great pieces of information. Thank you. My question is, do you have personal long-term goals, and perhaps do you see yourself weighing 110, 120, 130 kilos in the future while still maintaining the aesthetic classic proportions? Well, first of all, my long-term goals are to be the best bodybuilder that I can be and improve myself the best I can. When I go on stage in less than 2 weeks on the Arnold Classic, I'm gonna take a look at my physique objectively, and just like I did with the previous video on this channel of the Flex Cup, I'm gonna dissect my own physique and my posing routine and what I can improve and how I will improve it, exactly what exercises, how my diet will be and stuff like that. That's the fun thing about bodybuilding for me. If it was already perfect, it would be boring. It would just be maintaining what you look like right now. You always want to be able to improve and progress from whatever point you start from. So that's the fun part about me, and the long-term goals will be, as I said, to be the best I can be, and to go on a pro stage and represent classic bodybuilding and show everybody what bodybuilding is all about. True bodybuilding. The art of the physique, actually looking at the physique and thinking, wow, that looks good, that is a piece of art, it is a sculpture, and it's not just a man with a lot of beef packed onto him doing some weird poses. No, it has to be a complete package of Greek aesthetics. And the weight that goes with that, I don't think I'll hit 130, even 120, very ripped. But if I can and still hold my proportions the same I have now, I will definitely do that, because I want to keep progressing, but I don't want to progress in weight or size as much as I want in proportions and the beauty of the physique. Last question of today by TheEnigmaTNG. Thanks for the good content that you have been sharing lately. Well, my question is about pec development. All my body parts are more developed than my chest. I tried a lot of training techniques, but it won't grow as my other parts, which are really well developed. Do you have any recommendations? The first recommendation is your weakest body part should get the prioritization in your training. And what I mean with that is, for example, if your upper pecs are weak, start with the incline movement. Or if you train everything once a week, make sure to train the chest twice a week. But some guys want to train everything twice a week. So then it kind of negates the prioritization of the chest. I don't know if I'm saying it right, probably not. But what I'm trying to say is, when your back, for example, is a good body part, don't train that twice a week. Don't train you're saying everything is a good body part, so don't train those twice a week, but train them once a week, maintaining and slowly still improving upon those. But what you want to improve is your chest. So focus your energy on your chest and making sure that it's going to grow to Arnold Schwarzenegger size. That's what you want. I hope I helped you with that answer. Anyway guys, those were the questions of today. I hope it's not too long of a video, but we'll see. And there's a lot more coming. As I mentioned, the ultimate diet video is coming in the near future. A lot more training footage is coming, and peak week is coming up, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to do. It's actually it's coming up Friday, Saturday, you know, that's when it's going to start. So that's when I will record a lot of footage for you guys leading up to and into the show. When I'm in Barcelona, Spain, I will record everything I can. Oh. Did you guys see that? Anyway, I will record everything when I'm in Spain. I'm going to show you exactly what I do to prepare for the show and show you backstage footage, the posing routine, and everything else. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to stay golden.
Ja, dat is eigenlijk 2 werkdagen. Nee, dat is zo dat 17 binnen was. Hè?